Do you actually know which words your cat genuinely understands when you speak to them? Most people assume their cat only reacts to the sound of a treat bag rustling or a can being opened. But a groundbreaking study from Sophia University in Japan demonstrated that cats learn and respond to specific words you use in everyday conversation. And one of those words, the one almost every owner uses incorrectly, may be quietly eroding your cat's trust without you ever realizing it. Let's begin with the word they learned before anything else. 1. They know their own name. Have you ever called your cat's name, watched them look directly at you, blink once, and then deliberately walk in the opposite direction? You probably assumed they hadn't understood, but they had. They absolutely had. In 2019, researcher Atsuko Saito and her team at Sophia University in Japan published a study that fundamentally changed what we believed about cats and language. They tested dozens of cats and uncovered something remarkable. Cats can distinguish their own name from random words, and even from words that sound almost identical. So why don't they always come running? Because cats are not wired to respond the way dogs are. Dogs were selectively bred for obedience. Cats were never designed to comply. When your cat hears their name, they make a deliberate choice. They weigh up whether responding is worth the effort based on what typically happens next. If hearing their name usually leads to something rewarding, food, play, or affection, they're considerably more likely to respond. If it tends to lead to a bath or a trip to the vet, don't expect much enthusiasm. And that's what makes this so genuinely fascinating. Your cat knows exactly what you're saying. They simply decide whether you're worth responding to. And if your cat recognizes their own name, what else have they been quietly absorbing all this time? The last word on this list might change the way you see your cat entirely. 2. They know what no means. Have you ever noticed your cat freeze the instant you say no? Perhaps they were on the counter, scratching the sofa, or on the verge of knocking something off a shelf. You said it once, and they stopped, so they clearly understood, right? Well, yes and no. Your cat absolutely learns what no means over time. But here's what most owners fundamentally misunderstand. Cats don't respond to the word itself the way you might expect. They respond to the tone, the volume, and the emotional weight behind it. That sharp, sudden sound creates a negative association in their mind. Your cat learns that when that particular sound occurs, something unpleasant tends to follow, so they stop, not out of respect for a rule, but simply to avoid the discomfort. And this is where things become genuinely problematic. If you use no too frequently, too loudly, or at the wrong moments, your cat doesn't develop discipline. They develop fear. They begin to associate you with stress and tension. And over time, that changes everything between you. They hide more, they flinch when you move too quickly. They stop coming when you call them, not because they've forgotten your bond, but because you've inadvertently rewired what your presence means to them. The owners who achieve the best results are those who use no sparingly and calmly. A single, brief, firm tone, no shouting, no repetition. One calm no followed by redirecting them towards something they are allowed to do. That is how you guide behavior without damaging trust. 3. They know what treat means. What is the one word that makes your cat materialize out of nowhere, regardless of where they are in the house? You already know the answer. Treat. You could whisper it from 3 rooms away, and somehow your cat is already sitting at your feet, staring up at you as though they've been expecting this moment all day. And this isn't just endearing, it's science. Cats learn through a process called classical conditioning. It's the same mechanism a scientist named Pavlov identified over 100 years ago when he observed that dogs began salivating at the sound of a bell alone, because they had learned that the bell reliably signaled the arrival of food. When a specific sound is consistently followed by the same outcome every single time, the brain forms a direct and automatic link between the two. Sound equals food, no conscious thought required. And here's what most owners don't realize. They trained their cat to do this without ever intending to. You never sat down and ran vocabulary drills. You simply said treat before handing one over, again and again. And your cat made the connection faster than you would have expected, because food is the single most powerful motivator in a cat's world. But it extends well beyond the word itself. Some cats begin responding to the sound of the bag crinkling, the cabinet door opening, or even the particular rhythm of your footsteps, heading toward the kitchen at a certain time of day. They've constructed an entire chain of associations around that one moment. The word is simply the most obvious trigger in a system your cat built entirely on their own. 4. They know your other cat's name. If you have more than one cat, have you ever said one of their names and noticed the other one react? Perhaps they turned to look in the direction of the cat you were calling, or glanced toward the doorway their housemate usually walks through. You probably dismissed it as coincidence. It wasn't. In 2022, a research team led by Saho Takagi at Kyoto University in Japan published a study that genuinely surprised the animal behavior community. They found that cats, living with other cats, learn and recognize the names of their housemates, not just the sound, but the identity associated with it. Here's how they demonstrated it. They played a cat's name out loud while simultaneously showing either the correct cat or a completely different cat on a screen. When the wrong cat appeared on screen, the cats in the study stared at it significantly longer. That extended stare is a well-established indicator in animal research. It signals that something doesn't match what the subject anticipated. They heard the name, expected a specific individual, and when the face didn't correspond, they noticed the discrepancy. Consider what that actually means. Your cat has been quietly constructing a detailed mental map of your household. They know who everyone is. They know which name belongs to which face. Nobody taught them this. They worked it out simply by living alongside you and paying attention to patterns you didn't even know you were creating. So the next time you call one cat and the other one looks up, it isn't random. They understood precisely who you were addressing, and they chose to pay attention anyway. 5. They know what "come here" means. Have you ever looked at your cat from across the room, said "come here," and watched them actually walk toward you? Most people laugh it off as a lucky coincidence. But what if your cat has understood those words for considerably longer than you realize? This is the one we mentioned earlier, and it may change the way you see your cat forever. Cats are not born knowing what "come here" means, but over time, through hundreds of small, repeated moments, they build a firm connection between those words and what consistently follows. You say it, and then offer them affection. You say it, and then pick them up. You say it, and they find themselves somewhere warm, comfortable, and safe. Your cat didn't learn this from any formal training. They learned it from you, from every single instance in which those words led to something good. And that's what sets this word apart from every other one on this list. Treat is about food. No is about avoidance. But "come here" is about your relationship. When your cat hears those words and chooses to walk toward you, they are not obeying a command. They are telling you that every experience they've had with you after hearing those words has made them feel safe enough to keep coming back for more.